G'day viewers, well I got my new switchboard ready to go. A nice Hager Invicta board. We're getting solar done soon, so when everything's all squared up. Got the switchboard ready to go. So my inverter in and out back feed breakers. And that's going to be for the combi, the 3-phase supply to the combi oven in the barbecue area. These are the circuits of your house. All RCBOs. Pretty much the main's going to come straight in here from the main switch and the current switchboard with a meter, and everything's just going to be put in here. All the circuits are going to go straight in here from the meter. So I'm going to feed a wire in here and swing the circuits all in here. So in the house, the oven, heaters and this shed, 20 amp power points, power points, power points, power points. These three are the light circuits, the 10 amp ones, are going to be my light circuits. Because one of the circuits currently I've got in the switchboard currently, one of the light circuits is shared from the power circuit. I don't know whereabouts it is in the house, I haven't really traced the cables back where they've tapped on, but I'm definitely going to split that and just have it on its own light circuit. Some spare poles and making more circuits in the future. The way this is better because you can split parts of the house and you can balance the loads in your house on different phases, which is better because how it is currently, everything in that house is all balanced on the one phase. It's all on the one phase and it's it doesn't balance on the transformer on the power pole. But doing it this way, I can distribute the loads and the circuits in the house across different phases. Because yeah, balances the load across on the transformer there. On the street, and if any of the phases go, I'll know which circuits of the house fail, whichever phase may happen to drop out, but it's very rarely that happens. Unless there's a big massive storm or something takes one of the power lines out somewhere, then yeah, but phases rarely drop out here anyway, so ideally they're going to have power going to my inverter, and power coming out of the inverter are going to be these two, ideally, and have like there'll be a bloody little meter, a DIN rail meter that goes in here, which tells you what I'm exporting back into the grid. So I prefer a board like this. It's actually easy to work with. Very easy to work with a board like this and add circuits. I quite like this setup. So perfect for a house. Even got my little ledge in there, like a proper commercial building would have. NHP concept are the same as these, but are a lot more dearer. The only difference is NHP Concepts made in Australia, and a board this size is about $2 grand. This is about $700 and this comes from China. Still pretty good quality stuff, and it's still a nice board. It can be surface mounted or into the bricks and flush mounted. But I'm probably going to surface mount this, and don't know how I'm going to get the cables to go in. I might cut a hole in a brick wall, or I'm not sure yet. Or I'll cut the top and put a top hat over it. Cables go down in here. And have a top hat to cover it all. It'll look nice. Not sure yet. I was going to put it over here, but it probably too close to where a water tap is. I was going to stick it here, but I don't think it'll work because there's taps nearby, and this gets a fair bit of sun here anyway. I reckon I'm probably going to put it in the where my front door is. Where my front entrance of the house is a front door. It's a nice secure area, and it's covered undercover. And I can lock that with a common 001 key, so people can't just turn my power off on me when they come to my front door and if I'm not home. So it's a lockable, it's still lockable. Some houses do have it near the front door, the switchboard. So I think it'll be right there. It's not exactly weatherproof because NHP do make one like this with their concept boards with a seal around it, and it is weatherproof. This here isn't as, it is weatherproof but not as weatherproof. So good, get it under cover anyway. It's got plenty of room in that board for improvement, so we'll add more circuits in the future. Got a big couple of, probably about 20 or so meters at 16 mil square 4-core earth to supply this. So it's good for 63 amps to feed the house. Plenty of power. Scored some batches of Revive. This one's actually quite good. Tested it out at quite quick amps and inoxed it This one was not charging. The guy who had it for a car fridge, and he completely discharged it dead. And I was pulling about 10 amps, and his chargers wouldn't charge it anymore. So I put it on this, and I was forcing 20 amps at 15 volts into it overnight. Come back in the morning, and it would charge. It charged. So I fixed it. And it's holding its charge. So I tested about 650 cold cranking amps on the car battery crank cold cranking amp tester. So that actually came quite good, that one. Got lucky there. Just charging some cheap Chinese bloody 6 volt kids ride on batteries. Got an exit emergency light battery there. Something for the kids ride ons. There's the last of these Bardics from about 2018. I stopped using lead acid batteries, and now they all use a little life PO4 cells. A common thing with exit lights that use lead acid batteries, there's the way this charging circuit works. It cooks a living daylights out of the bloody batteries. I mean, some of these, like this battery in particular, was only replaced about 18 months ago, and it's cooked. It rattles. So the exit lights aren't good on the batteries. I've not come across one dead lithium one yet, so I'm keeping all those out of these with scrap. So I always take the they're very handy exit emergency lights. Handy for all sorts of projects and little components and things. Some of these ones, like not that old at all, and taught exactly and cooked. They are cooked. See, I've scrapped an exit light here and attached it into a little portable thing, got a backing plate and everything on it. It's basically a little portable switchboard there with an RCD, portable appliance safety switch, and I can turn it off. We've got two emergency lights here with some 26650 life PO4 cells. So there's a Synovate, which are a pretty crappy manufacturer. A lot of these ones have failed. Emergency, which is a nice punny name. So basically I would test when I was testing these bloody things. It wouldn't pass, they just flickered. After 30 seconds they turned off. Pretty bright little letter that is, eh? These are the cheapest brand. Synovate. So it's a 3.2 volt, 3.2 amp hour, so this is. These are very handy. I always keep these out of buggered exit emergency lights. These are very expensive to buy off the shelf, these bloody cells. They're life PO4, these ones don't catch fire. They're rated to 60 degrees Celsius. They're also handy to put in packs and making little 12 volt packs and things out of. So they're very handy cells to have. Very handy, so I always keep them for that. I've bought myself a water distiller. I was sick of buying distilled water for my batteries, so I've just said bugger it. Just went online, jumped on Veva, and paid about 250 bucks. So this is the biggest one they've got. It does the job nicely. Saves money in the long run. So I've filled that 20 litre bottle up, and all these up have refilled with distilled water. I did I put filtered water in here, filtered town water. So it's amazing. There's little black stuff at the bottom of it still. But not much, but it's amazing what shits in the town water these days. So now I have to buy distilled water anymore from my deep cycle batteries. So we just make it here and go from there. I've also picked up a vintage TV, Vankarina, an NEC tank. I think I've showed this before, but I haven't done much on it yet. I've got to get some space made up and organise stuff. I've got to recap it. The vertical's a bit funny. The vertical doesn't work properly on it. These NEC built TVs are absolute tanks. This is yeah, I've got to keep it, protect it, not damage it. It's the same with this one over here, which I think this one here had some problems with it, but I haven't had a chance to work on it. It's a smaller one. Actually, that's a Sanya one which needs work. That's the same sort of TV there, but a mono version of one speaker. That one works fine. I'm yet to organise this stash, so to speak. Move these out the road and move these bar fridges and just organise TVs better. This is actually a good sealed area. There's no water leaks in here. I gotta do up my vintage TV display now. Now I'm sort of getting back into it. I've also picked up this igniter from a 1970s IMAX cinema xenon lamp unit from Japan. I'm going to try and get a hold of one from a complete unit from a mate. He's got a complete unit with a bulb in it. Basically this strikes the xenon bulb and you put a welder on it. It takes about 50 volts I think at about 100 amps, which I could just, an old school arc welder across, that goes across the bulb, that strikes it and it'll run the bulb. It's important to use an old school welder like this one with a power supply, because an inverter welder won't like getting zapped by that transformer. That's 1600 volt transformer where capacitors, it strikes the arc. 1970s Japanese quality. That clicks it, click, click. Yeah, Japanese stuff's really good quality back then. There's some of these which are sound processors. I'm going to try and work out how to bloody wire up. This is all from ex-Hoyt's Cinema. There we are, another one of the sound processors. Another one there. All sorts of, that's a full kit there, trying to find how to wire it all up. All this has been replaced with a little computer and a standalone little cheap Chinese amplifier about that big, which you can fit in your pocket now. This sort of cinema technology has become obsolete thanks to cheap Chinese big ass TVs and Netflix. Anyway, I've scored myself a motor driver from eBay. It drives this compressor, although the voltage isn't anywhere near what it should be on this compressor. But it does tick over slowly. I've scrapped a Fisher and Paykel dishwasher and took one of the motors out and kept the other one for a mate. And it runs that motor nicely. Well, I think I've got this ready to go. If I connect it. No, it didn't start properly. I've got to start it. So start from 0. There we go. A bit talky. It's basically, there's no hall sensor with this one. It goes straight there. UVW comes out and drives this. Drives this coil. I gotta find a hard drive motor to drive with this. Voltage range. Here I'm running it up 24 volts. 2 good batteries I got from a fire panel from work. Work. There's a good battery there. It's made in Vietnam by Kung Long. No, it won't start ever. Stop and start it manually. There we go. Does the basics. I can run that. Although, as I said, that's too low a voltage. I can find a lower voltage ones of these motors within the range of the voltage range of that. If I can make use of this little thingy. Works quite well. So it's quite talky. Yeah, if you've ever scrapped a Fisher and Paykel dishwasher, that's your circulation / drain pump that sits in the bottom. Comes out easy enough. So it's quite handy. Very handy little motor. Everything else uses a motor like that, particularly if I drive that little circuit. So it's quite handy. I have to neaten it all up and get use out of it so I can make it portable. Anyway, see how this battery's holding up. This thing was cooked as all. Yeah, bit of current there, bit of power in it. Other than that, I've buffed this fridge up with a buffing wheel. Came up quite nicely. A dry wool buffing pad and a little polisher. It's came up quite nice. Smells good in here too, vintage. Works quite well this one. I'm going to try and preserve this, really cool. I wonder if I could take a picture of that and get a good high resolution print and reproduce them for other fridges. But here it came up nice. I just polished it with a wool buffing pad. And just look at here, quite impressed. Yeah, they did a good job. I did the same thing with storing my headlights, using the same sort of method. Just polished it, and I said, well, I'll see how it goes in the old fridge. And sure enough, it actually came up nicely. Spaciously, one of these little polishes. Surprised how well just using a wool pad works. It's worth its weight in gold. Quite impressed with how well that turned out. And this fridge over here, gas is still going nice and strong. It's a Bromic, cheap Chinese fridge. They all are now, as I was saying before. Doesn't matter what you spend or what you buy, they're all cheap Chinese shit. And this one's a Bromic brand. But let's go. I think we're going to go back to the toner. Anyway, thanks for watching. G'day viewers. Well, V-Gas, a Mediumizer big 2-door Frigidaire for a mate, and as a thank you gift, he gifted me this Frigidaire belt drive. I've put a service valve on it. Doing some checks, did some verifications on it and everything, and put a motor on it. It's just one of those big flooded evaporator ones. I took all the fascia off it, which is in under here. I've got to polish it up. That's a fascia off it there. That allows to be polished up to make it look nice. It's one of those big sulfur dioxide type of evaporators, if you can. Oh, tell you what it's called. Cooler coil, that's it. There's another name for it, which uses a float valve system. And it gets to about here of liquid, and the float valve lets this meter to allow evaporation and cooling. I'm in the process of still charging it. It takes charging it with R152A. It takes a bit for this float to go. It's still under a vacuum on this side when I'm doing it, so, and to fill this up with liquid to get the system full of refrigerant. It doesn't work like a capillary system, but it works almost straight away. This doesn't have a capillary system in it. I've got an accumulator there, high pressure. This was closed. I had to open this and let the system flow into the evaporator. The metering is actually done as a float in here, and that's where the metering is actually done to allow evaporation to allow it to cool. So basically, yeah, it's the interesting one. It's an early, I think it's early 30s, but it's actually designed for R12. This system, 48 ounces of R12, model 80O16. Yeah, made in England by General Motors. So it's actually a 2-cylinder compressor. There's a piston here and here. From what I can see online, I looked up the specs of this compressor. A cylinder here, a cylinder here. So it's a 2-cylinder. So this is as I found it, as it was given to me, but it was missing the motor. So I had to put this motor on. This is just the motor I had. I put that on there, so other than that, that's all original, except for the motor. Anyway, we'll get it going and start charging. As I said, it's going to be a big challenge, because I've never actually seen one of these in person, the metering type one. So, very nice score. There isn't many of these around. It's a bit twisted, because it's a wooden can that was sitting on the pallet, and it's twisted a bit. I have to untwist it to get this all the doors to line up. Okay, viewers, well, just fix up a little bit of a leak. I re-brazed the valve on the outside there. It's like I didn't have fat locker back in the day, and they just soldered it. I just redid that. Cleaned it all up. Took about bloody 6 kilos of bloody R152A. My whole stash. This thing. This still did work. I reckon the float in there's buggered. It's supposed to get that filter of liquid, that float's supposed to meter the like a capillary action, but it doesn't work. So I have to take that evaporator apart and fix a float system up in that. Bit of a bugger. I didn't want to do that, but I've just had it going again, and yeah, nothing happens. Did a pressure check on it, and it looks like I've lost all my bloody gas overnight. So I go, what? I bubble tested this thing and I don't know what's going on. Well, I did crack this and this just to be sure that I was checking that there was no blockages in the system, just as I was charging it. Just slight crack in there. I had flow going through there. It had cracked the one going into the evaporator, and there was no blockage, just to confirm this is not blocked. Bit of a weird one. It might even I reckon the float has to be fixed in the evaporator for this to work. Normally it fills up the float, that bloody big evaporator drum fills up and the float's supposed to need it of refrigerant. This one's not doing that. It's a cooler coil made in Australia. I'll put a date on that. I'll see if there's a date on it. It's supposed to get to about here, the refrigerant, to this level here. And it's supposed to float in this meters, like a capillary tube in the newer modern systems. And it all boils down here, but it wasn't doing that. So something's wrong in here. The float might be buggered, I think. Let's have a look. Do not detach this label, know that. I can't really read much on it. Sydney and Newcastle, that's where it was made. Cooler coil, Australian made. F. Muller Proprietary Limited. There you go, see it made the coil. Cooler coil. So I had refrigerant to here, and that was pressure there, but this wasn't actually getting hot like it should, so it's just going straight back out there and just circulating without actually going through a restriction, so to speak. So something must be wrong in here. This will be a hell of a project. I've got to get it off the bloody trailer yet. It's bloody heavy, this thing. I'm going to be careful how I get it off the trailer, because it's a wooden frame, it's twisted it. You can see the warp in it, so I'll be very careful how I'm going to do this. Yeah, but I got the motor mounted nicely. It's unfortunate that I got off to try and fix that bloody evaporator. Anyway, viewers, well, I was in the process of getting solar installed. Just get back to that just in a second. Someone dropped one of these fridges off. I sold them a bunch of fridges, and they said they had one for me to repair for them. So I said, okay, drop it off one day, and they dropped it off while I was at work, and it wasn't working. And yeah, it was low on refrigerant, so I re-gassed it, and off it goes. Could do it clean, but it does work well now. Works very well. It's an Indonesian made LG. The condenser's under here in front of a fan, which is how they bloody should be, most fridges now. So they're putting it in here or here. Okay, it's a stupid idea. So there's a condenser there with a fan blowing over it. That's how they all should be. It's working well now. Let that go for a couple of days and see how it performs, and they can have it back. Because they really liked this fridge, so I said, alright, I'll fix it for you, as I said. If I get a schematic on it. Thermistor based. This is all for the thermistor and everything, and LED driving and everything. The compressor's LG tyre job. It's a Chinese LG. It runs straight off 240 volt, and there's inverter rubbish. Here's how to wire it if it's either an LG or a Matsushita Panasonic or an Embraco compressor. It tells you how to wire different compressors for PTCs. It's pretty cool. They give you that option. Get pretty good information on this, which is good. Makes it repairable like that. But anyway, on the contrary of solar, I got the inverter and everything in, and switchboards there. Much better. There we go. That's for my export meter. Spare circuit breaker for a spare circuit. Much better. Much better board than what it was there before. So that's worked out quite well, that. I'm happy about it worked out. Got a fridge for the cold drinks to the boys, and they did a solar install. There's a couple of us doing it, so had all this running off solar when the switchboard was being done, so we didn't have any hot drinks. We've also scored a BLDC motor driver, Chinese thing. Ripped this out of a Fisher & Paykel dish drawer, a drawer dishwasher. That's the main pump that runs everything. So I could run these motors now. It also runs this compressor too. 48 volt input, 24 volt input to that. That only just ticks over slowly because it's 120 volt DC that needs to run. But it does drive it. Other than that, nothing else can happen. So yeah, getting this bloody solar up and going. Just started, so another week or so, level the panels up, and they'll be getting virtually free power now. It's pretty cool. I can even might even think about reconfiguring my hot water to come on during the day, and the solar would push it into the hot water, give me some free hot water. Wouldn't be a bad idea. I've updated my DC, the bloody thing. This heap of junk died. It just resets and doesn't do anything anymore. So I've upgraded to a Energy 40 amp, and now it gets power. Yeah, I've got a bloody big ass Energy 40 amp DC in there now. She charges quite nicely. Kept figuring getting frustrated. My bloody lithium batteries going flat over a couple of days. My fridge was warm. I was like, what the bloody hell was going on here? This is bullshit. So anyway, did some troubleshooting in here, and I found this piece of junk just wasn't working properly. I don't think it's potted like the Red Arc one, so I should be able to pull this apart and find what's wrong with it. It's only a 20 amp. So yeah, not very good. I can still use it as a solar charge controller, I think, but even that was a bit tricky. Even with solar, it was just cycling, resetting, and just wasn't doing anything. You keep figuring power on, fully charged no matter what, but it wasn't. The battery was flat, and they will sit there just power on, and the disc here lights are just flashing intermittently. Like there's something wrong with this. Plus, I could use it as a charge controller, I suppose. If it does that, if I do actually manage to fix it, it'll make a good little charge controller and make it portable. Put it in any car, but I'm not sure if it's really going to work properly anymore, that bloody thing. Anyway, and while I was given this, speaking of old fridges, he gave me some Milwaukee batteries too, which were dead. About 4 or 5 of them, which I've fixed them all up, and they all work. So I've got a heap of 5 amp hours and a 6 amp hour in there. They've been jump starting the cars with them, and there's a little fusible link inside they blew. They managed to fix that, and it works again now. So revived a bunch of batteries for nothing, which is pretty cool. Anyway, really got to clean this shit out one day. But I know everything is. Anyway, thanks for watching.